Hello. Today I would like to show you how to create a class in the Seesaw app. Once I am signed into the Seesaw app, it will take me to my home page. On the left-hand side, I will have my navigation menu. To open your navigation menu, you're going to click on the three lines at the top, and you will be able to see your menu choices and then your classes. If you don't have any classes yet, it will just say My Classes and have the plus sign. To create a new class, you're going to click the plus sign and you're going to be offered two options. You can import a class from Google Classroom if you already have students set up in Google Classroom, or you can create a brand new class by giving the class a name and clicking a grade level. Once you pick a grade level for your class, you are not locked into that for all of your assignments. This is just where your Seesaw library will default to when you open it. If you teach more than one grade, you can also choose the other option. So I'm going to create a sample class and I'm going to set it at second grade. Once I have chosen those, I will click check. Once you have created your class, you can also make any changes to the class by clicking on the wrench icon next to the class name. So going briefly through the settings, the student buttons is where you would add any new students. Families is how you would connect families to their student accounts. You can change the class name at any time. You can change the grade level. You can add co-teachers by sending them an invite or adding their email address. Just be aware, any teachers you add to your class will have the same rights to your class that you do, so they can make changes, they can assign lessons. Class theme would be different colors that Seesaw offers. And then class icon would be an image. It defaults to the first two letters of your class name. If you would like, you can change to one of these default pictures, or you can upload your own. So I've used different Bitmoji characters to indicate different grade levels. Next is the students section. This is where you can determine how students will sign in. Shared devices would allow them to sign in by scanning a QR code or type in a text student code. They would have to do this every time that they use the Seesaw app. For one-to-one devices, students can type in the student code, and then they just have to choose their name from a list of the students that are enrolled in this class, and then they can get to work from there. And then the last option is using email or a single sign-on service. In this option, when students sign in, they would either type in their email or they would click a button for whatever sign-on service they're using, such as Google, Clever, or ClassLink. Next, in the Manage Student options is where you could make changes for any student, such as their name, their email, their preferred language. So if you have students that speak Spanish, you could change it for them. And then automatically when they sign into Seesaw, everything that's outside of the lesson will be in their preferred language. This would also be where you would remove any students that are no longer enrolled in your class. Student groups is where you can create groups of students. All you have to do is add a student group, give it a name. So say if you have first grade students and second grade students, you could make a first grade student group, choose who you want to be in that group, and then say check. And now you have a first grade group. And then you just keep going for any other group. So if I wanted a second grade group, I could do that, third grade, fourth grade, so on and so forth. And that would allow me to assign different assignments quickly to small groups of students. Home learning student codes would be for those students that are signing in with a QR or a class code. If they are signing in with an email or an SSO, they can do that from home as well. Student likes and comments, you can decide. Can students give a little heart to assignments? Can they make comments? And if so, you can control whether or not you need to approve those. I would recommend, if you are choosing to use student comments, always make them require approval. That way, nothing that shouldn't be in the app is getting through. Students can see each other's work. This is kind of an all or nothing. You can't choose by assignment. So I tend to turn that off. And then if I want to share anything, I would use the blog feature. New items require approval. Again, I would recommend keeping that turned on. That way students aren't creating things and posting it for everybody to see without you checking it out and making sure it's okay first. Item editing, I do leave this turned on, especially with the younger kids, because sometimes they turn it in and they're like, no, wait, I didn't mean to. This is a quick way to just open up that assignment again and get them back to working. Otherwise, you have to go into your account and you have to send it back to them from your account. Whereas if editing is turned on, you can just do it right there with the student. Allow students to edit who is tagged in posts. If this is turned on, it shows that the lesson was completed by any students who are tagged. So I would recommend turning that off if you are going to use this for student evidence of work, because then if students are tagging each other, you don't know who did what, and it becomes confusing. Enable sample student, I would recommend turning that on, because that gives you a practice student that you can use within your classroom just like a student, so you can walk the students through the activity from their point of view. Family access, can turn that on and then invite the families using email or phone numbers once you have students in your classroom. And family access allows the parents to see everything that the student is doing in Seesaw. Again, this is why you might want to turn on teacher approval, because again, they don't see anything before you approved it. Managed families just allows you to, again, send invites or disconnect anybody that does not need to be in your classroom. Pending family approvals just shows you families who have asked for an invite. Likes, comments, and sharing is similar to the students. You can decide, can the family in turn share their students' work with other people? Can they like the students' assignments? Can they comment? And if so, do you want to approve the comments before they show up for everyone? Family messaging. If this is switched off, only you can start a message with families. If you flip it on, then the families are able to initiate the conversation first. Class blog allows both you as the teacher and the students to share their assignments with the blog as a whole. The blog then can be seen by anyone. The blog can be password enabled, so if you would like to use the blog feature, but you're worried about anybody on the internet getting access to the blog, you can make it password protected and then just send that password to families. Although be aware, once you share that password with families, families in turn can share it, and so on and so forth. So I would still be cautious about using the blog feature and what you share on it. Folders are pretty much like folders in any kind of cloud storage. I can put certain assignments in folders and that just groups them together. So for example, if I make a math folder, anytime I assign something that's math related, I can tag it with the math folder and it'll be bundled into that folder. And it's just a quick way to access assignments that are similar. Also, in your folders, you do have a private folder where you can put things that only you and other co-teachers can see. The students wouldn't be able to see that it's in a folder. The families wouldn't be able to see it's in a folder. And then show add to folder step is what would allow students to add their own items to a folder. So if you wanted students to be able to add directly from the activity, they could do that. Or you could just say teachers. Teachers can add directly from the activity after it's been created. Finally, you have your reset class and family codes if you choose that option, either the shared devices or the one-to-one. If you import your class from Google Classroom, this is where you would find the sync to Google Classroom. So anytime you got a new student in Google Classroom, you would just click the sync to Google Classroom button and they would automatically be uploaded to Seesaw. And then to archive a class means to make it not active. And then once you archive a class, if then you want to delete it permanently, you would go to your archived classes over here in your left panel navigation menu. So this has been a quick overview of how to create a new classroom in Seesaw and to adjust all of the settings for that particular classroom.